Hi. Now I would like to explain relative extrema of the function. Extrema of the function. So what is the extrema of the function? Extrema means maximum or minimum. There are always two extremes of anything, which is minimum value or maximum value. So for the function, we have to find the extreme of the function. So here are few definitions. First of all, a relative maximum is the largest value in a neighborhood. Relative maximum value. Suppose we have some function f of x, and of course it has some domain, but we only take some part of domain, and in that some part of domain, we have to find the maximum value of the function. So in that some part of domain, the maximum value of the function is called relative maximum value of the function. Similarly, in that some part of domain, minimum value of the function is called relative minimum value of the function. You can define relative minimum just like this one. Difference will be here, minimum value. Instead of this largest or maximum, you can write here minimum. So this will be the definition of relative minimum value of the function. But now, if you discuss the entire domain, so for the entire domain, the maximum value of the function is called absolute maximum value. And in the entire domain, the minimum value of the function is called absolute minimum value of the function. Extremum is the word which is used for either minimum or maximum. So now I'm going to explain this with the help of an example. So this is the example here. F of x is equal to negative 3x raised to power 4 plus 4x cubed plus 36x squared. So uh, in this course, we will determine the maximum or minimum values of the function with the help of the graph. So I have graph of this function. So let's suppose we are discussing only this part of domain from negative infinity to negative 2. So in this part of domain, you can see the maximum value of the function for this part of domain. This is the maximum value of the function. Uh, so this value of the function is called the relative maximum value of the function because we are not considering the whole domain. We are considering only this part of domain. So in this part of domain, maximum value of the function is this, which is more than 50, which is 64. I have mentioned it in this example. Now, it is important to note that we cannot see its minimum value because this graph is going down like that. We cannot determine its endpoint here. So it is not possible to find a relative minimum value for this part of domain. But now if we consider this part of domain from negative 2 to 0, then you can see this is the maximum value of the function. So this maximum value of the function is relative maximum value, and this minimum value of the function is called relative minimum value, which is 0 for this part of domain. For this part of domain, this maximum value is the relative maximum value, which is negative, which is 64, and minimum value is 0. Similarly, you can check the relative minimum and relative maximum value for this part of domain or any other which you want to discuss. Now, if we consider the whole part of domain, this part of domain from its domain is domain of this function is from negative infinity to plus infinity. Uh, so in this part of domain, for the whole domain, entire domain, you can see this point. This is the maximum value of the function, which is 189. So this maximum value is for the entire domain, hence we will call this value absolute maximum value of the function. Similarly, like we have discussed in this part of domain, we cannot determine its lowest endpoint. We cannot see this because this graph is going down. So it is not possible to find the absolute minimum value. So this is the absolute maximum value of the function only, which is here with this 189. So this is the way to find the relative maximum value, relative minimum value, or absolute maximum value, or absolute minimum value of the function. I would like to summarize this in two sentences. If we are interested to find relative maximum or relative minimum value of the function, then this will correspond to some certain part of domain. But if we are interested to find the absolute maximum or absolute minimum value, then we have to consider the entire domain of the function, whole domain of the function. Hopefully, you will understand this. Thank you.